defend to the longest period of my life because he is very tribal. He doesn't see anything without wearing tribal lenses. And I think because of the impeachment that happened at Parliament, I think the guy may have driven himself into some kind of depression, which I have always asked those who are closer to him to kindly consider. And now that he is in the United States, they can consider to admit him in a mental facility. And I want to assure you, if they do so, our former deputy president will be admitted for a period of not less than 5 years.
Why do you think so?
I think so because I have a Master of Science in Occupational Health and Safety Science. And there is a unit that I did which is called Study of Human Behavior in Causing Industrial Accidents. Study of human psychology in causing accidents in industrial sector, where you analyze the behavior of a worker and conclude that the behavior of this person cannot make the company to entrust him or her in operating this type of machine because a small error can cause fatalities in an industry. So I have analyzed the statements of this person, the bitterness, what he says, quote unquote. We all understand as a country what we went through during 07-08 post-election violence. We know what happens in Kiambaa Church. And we are also cognizant of the fact that those who perished in Kiambaa Church, they still have their family members alive. And as a country, we vowed and we got committed that we will always assist those families that were affected so that the scars can heal permanently. Only a psychiatric case can remind the country that a day is coming where what we witnessed in 07-08 will look like a Christmas party. That can only come from an individual who is deep into depression, who has psychiatric issues, and having psychiatric issues is not a preserve of a particular group of people only. Even everybody, including all of us and myself, we can get there. So I am simply saying that, my friends, including yourself, the day you see me behaving and talking like Rigathi, Gachagua, please assist me, just forcefully arrest me and take me to a mental facility. And on the same breath, I am completely asking those who are around Rigathi Gachagua, including Pastor Dorcas, to consider admitting prayers don't assist. A psychiatric case can only be solved by a psychiatrist, and where he is, we have experienced psychiatrists whom I think they can assist him. So that being said, I will be a bit hesitant to respond to claims that are made by a person whom I strongly believe has is slipping into depression. Even in, I think we can give him some benefit of doubt. Even in court, there are some serious offences where before a person takes plea, there must be a psychiatric report to confirm that you are in good mental stability. Otherwise, because you cannot prosecute or imprison an individual in mental instability. The court will wait until there is a determination that that person is in a stable peace of mind. If you will never be in a stable peace of mind, then you cannot be prosecuted. A madman on the road, if a madman on the road beats you up, you can't sue the madman because it's a madman.
Mahesh, back to the issue with Tim Wanyonyi. Some citizens of Bungoma think that now that Tim Wanyonyi is coming to vie as the governor of Bungoma, you, Honorable Dimas Baraza, should consider taking part as the Bungoma senator. What do you think of that?
Those are them. And, all elective seats available in our constitution in Kenya, it's only the president that requires garnering of 50 plus 1%. All other seats, the winner, the person declared to be the winner, is done so by garnering simple majority. There is nobody in the history of election that has won any election by garnering 100% support of total vote cast. It has never happened. And, even my supporters, who are many, they will argue that differently. So I want to make it clear, categorical, that I will run for the governor of Bungoma, regardless of who my competitor is. For your information, for the people of Bungoma to know that I am prepared to move forward. I am even prepared to run against Raila Amolo Odinga if he decides to come and run for governor of Bungoma. Yeah. So, for the people who are listening to me, you must know that because Kenya as a country, we are governed by a constitution that allows anybody who is a Kenyan by birth to run for any elective seat in a constituency or in a county within the territories of Bungoma. Therefore, this means that even Raila Amolo Odinga, the enigma himself, is free to run for whatever seat anywhere. So I am telling the people of Bungoma that even if it's Raila himself who will try to come and run for the seat for the governor of Bungoma, the people will decide.
Mheshimiwa, my last two questions as we conclude. Yesterday there was an interview that was aired by the Secretary General of ODM, Edwin Sifuna, on matters the national government and the current MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding between President William Ruto and Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga under the broad-based government. Sifuna, as the Secretary General of ODM, declares the MOU or the broad-based government null and void. According to you, do you see that the MOU and the broad-based government has worked for the betterment of the people of the Republic of Kenya? And my last question is in regards to the Mulembe Nation at large. Currently, there is a certain force that has been brewing inside the Mulembe Nation, called Tawe movement, led by the Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya. My question to you is, as a voice inside the Mulembe Nation in matters leadership, do you think that Governor George Natembeya in any way can be compared to people like Masinde Muliro and other figures that have led the Mulembe Nation to where it is today in matters leadership? Or can he be compared to Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula?
That is a very good question. I never wanted to say this about Ibn Sifuna, but because you've asked me, I think I will say it. For your information, Sifuna and I were circumcised in the same way. He is my age mate whom we share a lot of things in common. And in our culture, I am not, if I fight with Sifuna, then a goat must be slaughtered because we are commonly known as Bakoki. We all belong to an age set called Basawa. People were circumcised between the years of 1996 and 1998. So we have such a strong bond. Yeah. If I will circumcise my boy, I have to give Sifuna a cow. You know, if Sifuna's son comes to my compound here during that rite of passage, I have to give them a goat. And I never wanted to say this, but I'm going to say this. The discussion of forming a broad-based government began many months behind the date that it was announced. There was an agreement that ODM will forward experts to join government. And there were many names of the potential cabinet ministers that were to be considered. And Edwin Sifuna's name was there. As the Secretary General of the party, his name was there. Then somehow, his name was removed because his leaders preferred Wycliffe Oparanya. And they felt like they should not have two names from the Mulembe nation as experts. So that is how Edwin Sifuna's name was removed. Of course, there were many discussions and many lobbying. I happen to have been among the people that Sifuna approached just to ensure that I will push his name through so that he can be appointed cabinet minister. But of course, there are very many of other dynamics that are favored Ambassador Oparanya, including an attempt by some people whom we believed were sponsored by Edwin Sifuna to attempt to go to court and argue that Ambassador Oparanya is have an active case with EACC and is therefore not fit to be appointed as wherever. But Papa strongly believed that is either Wycliffe Oparanya or no another person from our region. And that is how Sifuna's name was dropped from that list. And I think That made Sifuna was a bit very bitter. He did not support the whole arrangement. Even when he was reading the MOU, knowing that his name was had been removed, he was reading the MOU like he was forced, like as if somebody had put a gun on his head, and that is understood. So whatever Edwin Sifuna says against the populist government everywhere, Kenyans should not take it within the seriousness that it deserves, because they should just take it like a jilted lover, like an interested party. And I think from where I sit, Edwin Sifuna is conflicted in talking against the broad-based government because he was an interested party. He's just throwing the vitriol because he was never a beneficiary. But I want to tell you, if his name was among those that were picked for cabinet positions, Sifuna could be a defender of this progress government in 3 different camps. So I think the government, the Kenyan people should not read too much in what comes out of Edwin Sifuna, because I have told the country for the first time that Sifuna is a bitter man because his name was removed, and he thought that being the Secretary General of ODM, and then he ought to have been the first to be considered an expert for the country. So he has decided now that my expertise were never wanted in the formation of this government. Now he's appearing on TV and all other forums to share his expertise, his wisdom with the rest of the country.
In regards to that, what do you think about Honorable Babu?
You know, let me tell you, Babu, is a very strong governor candidate for Nairobi. Babu, and myself, because of being the people's project, where we have reached, we can win the seats that we are looking for, on whatever party, or even without any party. He terrorized the person you kept mentioning from Nairobi until the guy saw stars, he decided to disappear. And we can only say that the guy living in Nairobi to Bungoma is akin to the proverbial statement that coming out of the frying pan to the fire. It's still the same, still one and the same. So Babu is, if there is a candidate that will give Sakaja sleepless nights, is Babu. That one is a fact. And I think Babu and myself, we have some commonalities. Both our opponents, I'm told, are doing opinion polls after every 2 months. And consistently for the last 2 years, I think we've been very ahead. That's why they usually abandon projects, this one to the other, one to the other, one to the other. And the difference between Babu and myself is that Babu is a very small difference. Yeah. Babu has 2 university degrees. I have 2 university degrees. He has 2 master's degrees. I have 2 master's degrees. I am also a PhD finalist. By December, I will have completed my PhD in public administration.
Congratulations.
And I think we are one of the most educated leaders in our country. And we have the courage to navigate along the political murky waters. This is our time. We are youthful. We have the intelligence of an old man, and we have the charisma of that leader that is required, that our country needs to take our country forward. And I think looking at the things that are happening in our country, all those leaders who are in Kano, the best of them is William Samoei Ruto. All those leaders who came from Kano, who germinated during Kano regime, the best of them is William Samoei Ruto. So when William Samoei Ruto completes his term of 10 years by 2032, all those people who are in Kano, Kalonzo can name them, all of them, they should all retire and go home, so that we can usher in a crop of leaders who germinated during Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta. And so that we can try to now give our country a new dimension of our political leadership. So all those who were in Kano, Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Odinga, all of them, once William Ruto completes his 10-year term in 2032, they should all not bother us. They should just all pack and leave.
Yes, because the president supported you so much, even during your campaigns as Bungoma governor. The president used to support you a lot. What do you think it's his take on regards to now what the Bungoma leaders are doing? Most of them have abandoned you. What do you think is the president's take?
I think there is no leader in Bungoma who has abandoned me. The English definition of the word abandon, it means somebody who was supporting you and they temporarily halt their support for you. For your information, those leaders whom you are saying they have abandoned me, they never supported me. If you go and check the records, yeah. Of course, some will say that I've never reached out to them, but I have my own campaign strategy. What I am doing now is popularizing myself. You know, taking myself to the people so that people can see me, people can know me, can know my behavior, can begin to scrutinize me, can begin to evaluate my capabilities. Then later on, after I have now developed or come up with a clear blueprint on what I will do for the people of Bungoma, I can now look around and say, whom among these people can assist me in marketing the idea that I have across the country, across the county of Bungoma? Then I can now begin to look for potential allies. I can now begin to look for example, we have now the teachers, we have KUPPET and the KNUT. If I tell the KNUT and KUPPET to support me as their governor candidate, based on what? Based on what? But sometime next year, when it will be ripe for the candidates to spell out their manifesto, that is when we will approach the organized professional groupings, the KNUT, the teachers, the business community, to tell them that we are the best bet for Governor of Bungoma because this is what we are going to do for them. But now, my manifestos are in the kitchen. They are being cooked. I go to the kitchen where the manifestos are being cooked every week to test, and I can tell the people of Bungoma from the look of it, the salt is sufficient, yeah, the soup is very nice. I am confident that my manifesto sometime next year, when we will launch them, there will be a killer punch, my manifesto will drive the last nail on the political coffin of my political opponents.
Mheshimiwa, I asked you a question to remind you about George Natembeya.
Very good question. You cannot compare all the current crop of leaders with the Masinde Muliro, because the syllabus is completely different. The current leaders, including the one you've mentioned, like myself, like very many leaders of today, we somehow now we have a say in terms of what development the government should initiate in our county. The governors who are here, they have been given a blank check and the resources to run their counties with the autonomy that comes from our constitution. Masinde Muliro was fighting for political space. There was no devolution at that time. You get the point? There was no devolution at that time. There were no bursaries that he was giving. There were no schools he was building at that time. You know, he was an opposition figure. His role was to fight for repeal of Section 2A so that we can have multi-party democracy. And because the syllabus was different from the syllabus of the current leaders, you cannot compare the two. You can't. It's like if you want to compare between Paul Terregat and Musa Otieno, who plays football, or Congestina Achieng, the boxer. You can't compare the three because their lines are completely different, right? And for your information, the people who have always been campaigning on the flip side of Masinde Muliro, Wamalwa Kijana, I don't know, this and that. That slogan, it doesn't hold water nowadays. Because those who are four leaders, they played their role, they exited the political stage, and we have a whole generation who doesn't know them. For your information, I am 40 years of age. I've only seen Masinde Muliro, the pictures. I never saw him. At least I saw Wamalwa Kijana when he was vice president. By then I was first year at the university. And I believe I have, as my sister was born in 1994. She's married with about, she was born in 1991. She's married with about 3 children. Her firstborn son is in grade 8. She doesn't know American because from 1991 to date, she's more than 30 years. Yeah, so we can't really compare our current leaders with those ones of our forefathers because they both operated within a completely different political space. Yeah. But all these political players are to the benefit of our region. We are not equal. We have some who are erratic. We have some who are calm. Yeah, we have some who are by their own nature, they are a bit diplomatic. They bombard issues with decorum. We have others who do things without a formula, who say what they want to say. That is not a weakness, it's a strength that our region should cash in. And I think as we progress, the politics of our country, of our region will just take shape. Yeah, some will falter, some will disappear. But from where I sit, I think in 2027, thereabout, we may experience a biwot Olentimama Amudi Awori moment, where when you are watching TV, when the results are streaming in, you see breaking news. Long-serving Cabinet Secretary Nicholas Biwott has lost his seat. The Vice President Mudi Awori has lost his seat. Vice President Musalia Mudavadi has lost his seat. I think 2027 might be the year where some people have dominated the political space for too long, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. I think they may be retired. The possibility of them being retired in politics by the voters, I can say that possibility stands at around 70%. I think I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mahesh, for your time.
We have time, we can proceed.
Or we can proceed.
We can keep
Maybe one last question.
Yeah.
If your brother Mutembea proceeds to be presidential candidate, are you in a position to support him? 20%.
Like I said before, I am a Democrat. I have a very open-minded person. I don't support people because they are my tribesmen. I don't support an individual because he's my brother, or my sister, or my wife, or whatever. Whatever that will persuade me to support an individual is not how that individual looks like. It's not where that individual comes from. It's not about the tribe of that person, the professional background. But I will be persuaded by an agenda, by a philosophy, by a track record, and if I will be persuaded by him in terms of what he will offer for our country, why not?
Mahesh, I have a question about our current governor, Governor Kenneth Lusaka. What do you think about him? As in, people have been complaining, a lot of the people of Bungoma, that the governor is very corrupt. That our governor is not doing his work accordingly. What can you say about that? Now that you are going to be the governor of Bungoma coming 2027, if the people of Bungoma allow.
Number one, Ken Lusaka is the current governor for Bungoma.
Yes.
I did mass with Kesa Parasa. I'm currently rebranding myself. I'm currently resetting myself to factory settings, but of course with the eyes set on running for the governor of Bungoma. I've made enemies before because of defending some people. Part of my rebranding is to mend fences with the people that I have bruised in one way or the other, so that I can persuade them that I'll be the best governor for Bungoma. I am not willing to also speak against the people that I'm persuading to support me. It is not my business to oversight the current governor of Bungoma. That is the business of the members of the County Assembly of Bungoma. That is the role of one individual called Nyongesa, who is the current leader of majority in the County Assembly of Bungoma. I have no business of doing monitoring and evaluation for public consumption about the governor of Bungoma. Yes, I am currently doing monitoring and evaluation about his performance in terms of identifying where he has not done right and where he has done well, for the purposes of continuing with whatever good that he's doing and disregarding whatever that I feel he has not done well. For your information, I understand Bungoma like at the back of my palm, because my project about my graduate diploma in project management was about the effects of strategic management in constituency development fund, a case of Kandui constituency. My dissertation during masters in public administration was also about Bungoma. It's titled, you can go and Google, you will see it. It was about determinants of effective implementation of a devolution support program, a case of Bungoma County. Even my PhD dissertation was also about Bungoma. In my PhD dissertation, I am looking at why do the people of Bungoma don't like the government?
Yes.
You know, why are they usually unhappy about the service delivery? You know, so the title of my dissertation is about.
They complained a lot about the flowers.
Yes.
Bungoma town,
So
remember?
the title about my dissertations at PhD level is effects of county government branding on service level satisfaction among SME in Bungoma. So in terms of understanding whether the governor of Bungoma has done well or he has not done well, what are the people saying about his government, I understand it at the back of my palm, but I will use it to shape my campaign messaging, my campaign manifesto. It is not for public consumption. It is for my own understanding and how I will use it. On how I will use it to ensure that because every leader, there is no leader who can be condemned 100%. Yeah, we see things differently. That's why at times we say so and so has failed, he has not done well, because we tend to listen too much to ourselves and to the level where we feel like I could have done it differently. So he only does things maybe differently from what I perceive, right? And I will use my analysis and the answer which I could have given you to to provide direction on how my manifesto will go like. About the flowers in Bungoma, I think there were very many people who were involved. And I think that is a story for another day, because it cannot just be mentioned in a footnote. It requires 3 chapters.
Mheshimiwa, my last question. There is an ideology that was brought the other day by Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga during an interview on NTV, where he went ahead to suggest, come the year 2027, we should abandon using voters' card to vote to using ID cards, because that is what identifies us as the citizens of the Republic of Kenya. I would love to hear your regards towards that matter of Raila Amolo Odinga.
For your information, if you go to the archives of the things I said, I already have a legislative proposal to repeal the Elections Act, so that Kenyans can be allowed to vote using their identity card. Today, if you want to identify yourself as Kenyan, if you appear before anybody or any organization that want to confirm whether you are Kenyan or not, they will not ask you to produce a voter's card. They will ask you to produce a national ID card. For you to get a voter's card, you must produce a national ID card. A national ID card is a requirement on whether one qualifies to be a voter or not. If the national ID card is the principal document that confirms that an individual is a Kenyan, then why should we not use it to vote? In my amendments to the Elections Act, I want to change the definition of a voter's card and replace it with the national ID card. I want also to change the mandate of IEBC from voter registration and expand the definition of voter registration to include a process where they will liaise with the registrar of births and deaths to get the database of people who are registered as Kenyans, clean it out, and migrate the same to their voters database. There must be a link between the registrar of persons and the system of IEBC in terms of today. If a young man acquires a national ID card, those details are automatically migrated to the IEBC database. And there were questions about when you are voting for a presidential candidate, you can vote from any constituency in Kenya. That is what part of my amendment also say. That when you are voting for president, you can vote from anywhere. And that because we want to migrate the database of from the register of births and deaths to the voters, then we are simply saying that IEBC will provide an opportunity for those Kenyans to update the areas where they prefer to vote from. If it's Kimilili, then they will give you an opportunity to make that decision on whether you want to vote from Kimilili constituency or Webuye East. In the absence of that confirmation, then IEBC will assume that we want to vote from your place of birth as provided for when you are applying to get your ID cards. Of course, when you apply to get your ID cards, you say where you are born location, sub-county, and county. And we also want to make it clear that contrary to what has been happening before, the reason why many Kenyans don't turn out to vote for the president is because at the point of going to cast their vote, maybe they have not traveled. If they register to vote from Kimilili constituency, for example, and maybe they don't have transport, they are living and working in Mombasa, they don't have transport to travel from Mombasa to come and vote from Kimilili. We want to change the law to make it clear that when you are voting for a governor or for a senator, you can vote from any polling station, you can vote from any constituency within that county. And when we are voting for a president, you can vote from any part of the country because the president represents everybody living in Kenya. And anybody living in Kenya, you have a right to decide who your president will be. So, for example, if you registered as a voter in Kimilili constituency and you are in Mandera, then you should be allowed to vote for the president, participate in presidential elections, because the president serves all Kenyans. And if you registered as a voter in Kimilili constituency, you should be allowed to vote for a governor for Bungoma from anywhere, whether when you are in Bumula or anywhere, because the governor of Bungoma and the senator and the women rep will come to serve everybody living within the territories of Bungoma.
Mheshimiwa, questions. You have made it clear that you would support Mheshimiwa Gachagua as a Kenya Kwanza principle. We are aware that around this region, especially he's being condemned for not achieving the 30% from the government. I don't know whether you are able to defend him on that or to actually spell out if the community or the region has gotten 30%. Number two, can you just highlight some of the development achievements that you have made here? We have seen the Huduma, we have seen others. So maybe there could be others that we don't know that you could just let us know.
Number one, I have said that I'm going to have a conclave of about 10,000 people in the next 14 days. I have not said in the next 1 month or in the next 1 year. I have been very clear in particular that the conclave is going to happen within the next 14 days, beginning from today. And I look forward to assembling minimum 10,000 people so that we can have a conversation on very many issues, including the one that you just mentioned. But there is one thing that is very important that I want to say. There is no government that is bad. If you look at it in terms of providing development within our region, especially in the current political dispensation and the current governance structure of our country. Because number one, we have CDF that goes to all the 290 constituencies. That's number one. Number two, we have shareable revenue that is shared among the 47 counties in Kenya. Those are still the work of government. And lastly, the national cake that is in Nairobi, because of our laws, there is scramble for that cake from all the 290 constituencies. And every area, the Constitution has given them an opportunity to decide who sits on that table to ensure that the interest of the areas they are coming from are catered for. That is basically what happens. And we have had two opportunities. Opportunity number one is that Kenyans themselves will make a decision by electing their leaders who will sit on the national table to advance their interest. The Constitution has also gone ahead to mitigate that in the event that those leaders who are elected slips on their duty and there is nobody negotiating on behalf of their people, it has also provided another legislation that compels the head of government to adhere to regional balance, gender balance, when they are forming the executive and all the appointment in government. The Kenyans made that decision to ensure that during that scramble, at least they have some kind of representation that are trying to push into the area. And you cannot you cannot say that William Ruto has not delivered to our region without also having a discussion about does the leaders we elected to join William, does those leaders that William appointed to join him, have they put the interest of the people where they come from ahead of their personal interest? So that's a question. For example, if you look at my constituency here, yeah, of course, currently, even if I want to be governor of Bungoma, but I'm currently the member of parliament for Kimilili constituency. Yeah. the road which you have used to come here. You've seen I'm putting tarmac. You've seen the works are ongoing very fast. I don't make noise, but that these are very rural area, and that tarmac is going up to Chepkwat. We have another also tarmac in Ushirika, there's part Huroro is going, so the two roads will join somewhere there. You get the point? I have put in about, I got 50 million to put up our Duma Center. Now it's a roofing center, so that the people from Kimilili, Mount Elgon, Webuye East, and Tongaren don't have to walk almost 20 kilometers to Bungoma town to get government services. In my constituency, there is no single school that is marbled. I faced all of, there were about 18. I changed all of them. In my constituency, you will experience that in the villages, the first story building that is visible, that the people have seen, is a story building of a primary school, because that is where the foundation of knowledge begins to emancipate. You get the point? In Kimilili constituency, it is the only constituency in Kenya where I have said, and we are committed, that by June next year, the period which the courts said that CDF will lapse, in the Kimilili constituency, it could be among the very few constituencies in Kenya that are all our primary schools. We will have phased out all the old buildings that were built in 1960s and 1970s, and we will have tiled all our primary schools. We will have put capital and landscaping in all our primary schools. We have already begun.
So you're speaking about only Kimilili, or?
No, me, I'm speaking about Kimilili because you see, I am the member of parliament for Kimilili constituency, and I said, government, the way government operates, the constitution has given the people of Kenya an opportunity to elect their people through a ballot. The people will go to scramble for the resources in a road on their behalf. It has also gone ahead to compel the executive and the president that when he is forming his cabinet and the executive, he must adhere to regional balance. What was at the back of the minds of Kenyans when they said those two things is they were alive to the fact that the national budget, the national cake, people scrambled for it. Right? So me, I am telling you how I have scrambled for the national cake to the benefit of the people of Kimilili, because currently I'm a member of parliament of the people of Kimilili. If you ask the member of government for Gachagua, he will explain to you how he has scrambled and what he has gotten for his people. Same to Tongaren, same to Buye, the two Buye, same to Tongaren. So I will simply taking you through what I have used my ability and powers to get for the people of the community.
Mheshimiwa, coming back to your manifesto, how big is it?
My manifesto is not 20 pages. My manifesto is only 5 pages.
Okay.
My manifesto is in 2 categories on 50-50 basis. 50% of my manifesto doesn't require monetary investment. You know, there are very many things that the people of Bungoma are suffering from, and providing a cure doesn't require monetary investments. It only requires a policy direction, or a policy review, or a policy guideline. That's number one. The remainder of the policies is that I have seen MCAs across the country struggling for what they say World Development Fund. Yeah. As a governor, of Bungoma, there is no single MCA that will struggle for ward development fund in my tenure. Because what I will do is that we will get the budget. That is the development budget for the people for the people of Bungoma. Of course, in the development budget, there is that first charge that goes to pending bills and the rest. The amount of money that will be available to fund fresh projects, that amount of money, we will divide that money equally across the 9 constituencies and equally across all the 45 wards. We will engage the people of Bungoma in a very structured manner, similar to what we do when we are coming up with CDF proposals. We will engage the people in every ward. We will do public participation in 2 aspects. The first public participation is guided by the available budget per ward. We will now engage the people that we have this amount of money available to develop this ward. What do you think is that it will make you happy that this money can go to fund? And what will have guided them on healthcare, APCT. So that document that will emanate from that ward will be taken to the county executive member for finance and economic planning. That is what will form the budget estimates, and taken through the legal process of budget making as prescribed in the County Government Act. So, because during my tenure as governor of Bungoma, there will be no business of any project governor or project MCA. All the project will be for the people of Bungoma. And I am not a believer in legacy projects. I am not a believer in, for example, in Bungoma here we have a referral hospital that is being built at a cost of close to 1 billion, which the people who began that hospital felt like it will decongest the Bungoma County Referral Hospital. I have a different view. In my view is that
so
the only way,
being expanded.
Let me finish. The people who were there at that time, they felt like Bungoma County Referral Hospital is congested. So they felt that decongesting Bungoma County Referral Hospital is building another 400-bed capacity hospital next to it, and separating the pediatric wing of the BCRH into a different site in a different building altogether, so that you can decongest the BCRH. That philosophy never worked. I believe that the only way to decongest the Bungoma County Referral Hospital is to build capacity of all the 9 sub-county hospitals within Bungoma County to the level where they are able to deal with the emerging medical attentions to the people of Bungoma, and that there is no point, there is no rationale of an individual walking from Kapsukun to Bungoma, from Tongaren to Bungoma, from Cheptais to Bungoma, for small things which can be attended to by the sub-county hospitals within their walking distance. And I have said, of course, I can't go into details. My plan for the healthcare sector in Bungoma, I can't go into the details, but I can just tell the people of Bungoma that during my tenure as governor of Bungoma, given an opportunity, is that all the 150 dispensaries, we have 150 dispensaries in Bungoma County. We will sort them to a level where mama akienda hapo kutibiwa, akifika hata ugonjwa unapotea, ama akimalizwa kutibiwa, akiambiwa aenda nyumbani, anasema please, wacha nilale hapa siku ingine 2 ndio niende nyumbani, please msiniache niende nyumbani sasa, because the area mahali itakuwa ukifika unaona tu uponyaji. Now during my launch of the manifesto, now I will explain the specific things that I will do to make sure that our healthcare across Bungoma, there will be a place when you are as a patient, you have a feeling that you are at the right place, you are in the hands of the right people. Number two, in the education sector, we have had people who are, even our chiefs, everywhere when you attend funeral, you see the government officials, they are on a campaign to rally our young people to enroll themselves in the VTCs, the village polytechnics, so that they can acquire skills. But our young people are not joining those vocational training centers. The reason being that our young people are very proud. They don't want themselves to associate themselves with a college that appears like it's a shanty. During my tenure as governor of Bungoma, given an opportunity, our young people will be admitting themselves in the vocational training centers, and they will be very proud to take a selfie from the background, showing the background of their college. If they are men, they will send to their girlfriend that I am in college, and their girlfriend will be very happy. Currently, if a young man dares to take a selfie in the village, in the vocational training centers the way it is now, if you take a selfie and send it to your girlfriend, you will be blocked instantly, because they don't look like Kisiwa is not a vocational training center. Kisiwa is a national polytechnic. I am talking about that one is a national polytechnic. It admits people from every corner of the country, and there is a qualification, the highest qualification for you to meet before you are given admission. But I'm talking about the vocational and training centers, commonly known as village polytechnics, where even a young man who never went to class 8, you can be enrolled to acquire some skills. Where even if you got you have already certificate of class 8, or you got an E, or you got a D minus in Form 4, there is a course for you that you can enroll into. So when time comes, we will explain on the modalities on what we will do to ensure that those village polytechnics becomes a place where our young people will be proud of, and they will be happy to enroll, to learn. I have so many things. In agriculture, if I ask you, for example, of course I'll not give you the reason, but I just want to give you, to throw this question to you. And you can go and ask somebody, you will give you a wrong answer. Mm-hmm. Bungoma County is a blessed county. We have favorable climatic conditions that support agriculture. Our people are blessed to have large tracts of land, 1 acre, 2 acres, 3 acres, 10 acres, 20, 30. We have some even with more than 50. We have 2 planting seasons, long rains and short rains. Today, at least people wanakula maharagwe. But in the month of January, February, March, we have biting hunger. Our people have no food to eat. They have no food to eat. All the maize that they harvested, 20 bags, is not there, it's completely finished, and people are sleeping hungry. They are surviving on water, fresh water, with salt. They are surviving on wild vegetables known as enderema. These are wild vegetables that you can go along the river and you just have and eat. You ask yourself why. The answer is during harvesting time, like in the next few months, we have middlemen who are positioning themselves by looking money to come and buy this maize, and you can't stop our people from selling their maize
It's true.
because they have children who want to eat chapati, so they will take 2 gorogoro, sell it to a middleman who will buy 1 gorogoro at 40 shillings or 30 shillings. You want to take you to buy a Christmas dress for your family, your wife, you are not employed. Of course, you get 2 bags of maize, sell. So by the time you get to January, they have sold all their maize to middlemen. And they buy 1 bag, they buy 1 gorogoro at 20 shillings, even at times 15. So the middlemen will go and keep this maize somewhere, and the gorogoro which they use it to buy, they actually cut. Most of these people are actually from central Kenya. They will cut the gorogoro and add another layer. So when they are timbering this maize, wanashika namna hivi. So 1 gorogoro which they are buying actually is like 1.5 gorogoros. So they go and store it somewhere, and maybe also add mahindi ile ambayo imeuza. And then in the months of January, February, March, they will bring the same maize to sell to the same farmer. 1 gorogoro maybe at 150 shillings. Na hiyo gorogoro ambayo wanatumia kuwauzia nayo wamekata chini, wamepunguza. So actually when you feel like you are buying 1 gorogoro is actually a half. You get the point? So what do we do to ensure that our people who are blessed to have large fertile land, who have maize, but they sell them to middlemen? What do we do as a county, as a governor, to enable them not to go through what I've just explained, by not stopping them from selling? I will provide the answer next year on what I will do as governor of Bungoma to ensure that there will be no single citizen in Bungoma who will sleep hungry because they sold their maize to a middleman. I have an answer that I will tell them what I will do, but that answer will not contain, is stopping them from selling will never be part of the answer. When you ask an expert who has gone to school that what do we need to do to ensure that people of Bungoma have food security, they will begin to talk about horticulture, very many things which the problem which is not the answer. The reason why people of Bungoma, people of Kakamega, people of Trans Nzoia, they sleep hungry in the months of December, January, February is because all the maize that they harvested wameuzwa to a middleman na shilingi 20, shilingi 30 because of magonjwa nyumbani, because of wanunue pia mkate kwa boma, watoto kule mkate blue band, wengine wanalipa school fees na wanauzia mtu mwenye anaenda aweke akuja auze na bei kali, and you can't stop them. So I have an answer which I will tell the people of Bungoma next year.
Mheshimiwa, as we conclude, I will divert you again back to the national politics. You told us that we know Rigathi Gachagua is an impeached deputy president, so he doesn't stand a chance to vie for any position in the Republic of Kenya. But we are a set of other leaders that have come from the opposition. These are figures that we have seen in the political arena for so many years, and all of them are fronting themselves against President William Ruto in the 2027 general election. I want, in your own words, to describe to us these leaders. To begin with, we have David Maraga, the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, and Martha Karua, and in conclusion, former Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fredo Kemo. In your own words, or do they stand a chance?
Number one, currently in our republic, William Ruto is focused on implementing his campaign pledges. That is what he's focused on now. We as his lieutenants, we are also focused on giving him unequivocal support for him to deliver whatever he promised Kenyans on our behalf as a coalition. That being said, we are also alive to the fact that we both have people who are popular among electorate from all the political divide. We have some who are popular and are currently in the opposition. We have some of our people within our own government who are unpopular, maybe for one reason or the other. That is a fact which cannot be washed away. In politics, when time for campaign comes, it will no longer be about the people you like. It will be about the people you want to win an election. When that time comes, after delivery of a government agenda to the people, after we have delivered what we promised to Kenyans, a time is coming, maybe next year, where the president will now change the agenda and convene his troops. Yours truly being one of them. And this time around, when we will reconvene, it will not be about how to implement whatever we promised Kenyans at that time. It will be about how do we win a second term. Who will have that discussion? And one thing will happen. We will evaluate regionally the capabilities of our leaders. We will look around in Bungoma, because our principal in Bungoma, in Western Kenya, is Musalia and Moses Wetangula. If we will realize that the support of Musalia and Moses Wetangula has dwindled, and that we have other players who are more influential, if it's Oparanya, or if it's Cleophas Malala, or if it's Eugene Wamalwa, or if it's George Natembea, then we will bring them on board. When you are assembling a political campaign machinery, your options are beyond the coalition that you are in, and it includes also the opposition basket. Politics is about interests. So I am simply telling you that we are currently focused on implementing our development agenda to the people of Kenya as a Kenya Kwanza government. But our time is coming, maybe next year, where we will reassemble our campaign machinery. And during that time, it will no longer be about the people we like. It will be about the people we need. So if Eugene Wamalwa will be part of him in terms of a person that we feel when he comes in, he can kind of increase our numbers and make us more likable and more popular, we will bring him on board. We will bring on board everybody. Even Matiang'i, if you look at the arrangements of the opposition, you've seen some people line up, where some are earmarked for Speaker of National Assembly, others Speaker of the Senate, others Prime Cabinet Secretary, others want to be ministers. When that time comes, we will negotiate. We will reassemble. We will raid the opposition camp, break it. We can even break it in 5 different pieces. Renegotiate with them. Find out which position they can play. Look at their experience and expertise. This Fred Matiang'i, the way he is, the way he's combative, how can we benefit from his intelligence, his wisdom? Where can he play? Some want to be Attorney General. You get the point. So we will reassemble the team, and I want Kenyans to relax. When we are saying William Ruto 2 term, We are not stupid. We are not speaking from a point of ignorance. We are speaking to the fact that it's not yet time to assemble a campaign machinery, and that when that time comes, we will raid the opposition camp, split it in 8 different pieces. We'll negotiate with individually, any one of them, renegotiate and form a formidable team and move forward so that our two-term becomes a reality.
So, Mheshimiwa, when is most likely going to be your manifesto? The manifesto launch, I mean.
My manifesto launch will be at the time where I'll be sure that no one can implement my manifesto, because we have an active government as we speak today in Bungoma, led by Ken Lusaka. And like I said, that 50% of my manifesto doesn't have any monetary investment, is only by way of policy direction. If I bring them out now, the players, the policy makers in the government of Bungoma can change them and implement them, and they will be no longer lucrative to talk about. So when I will be sure that time has come where the county government of Bungoma have got no window to implement anything new, when the assembly will be about to go to Synodine, that is the time that I will launch my manifesto. Because I want, by the time I will launch my manifesto, that excitement must be carried to the ballot and give a killer punch to all my political opponents, including some city dwellers and tourists who have come back to our county after a period of 56 years.
Supporting short Mhesh.
My parting shot is that I want the people of Bungoma to be like the people of Kimilili. The people of Kimilili were kind enough to overlook the weaknesses in me and gave me an opportunity to serve them as a member of parliament. Every individual in our country or the whole world has one or two weaknesses. There is no human being who is complete. They were focused on what they can benefit from me as opposed to what they think is thanksgiving. They gave me an opportunity at the age of 30. It made me join the history of our land, that apart from Salia Mudavadi, who was elected at the age of 28 at that time, I was the only member of parliament at that time to be given the mandate as a member of parliament at the tender age of 30. And later on, I will open doors to very many young people who were able to get an opportunity regardless of their age, the likes of Peter Kalerwa Salasia, because of what I did that made the people know there is not an age that determines how revolutionary an individual can be in terms of development, but it's about the way that person is wired that makes the whole difference. So I want the people of Bungoma not to look at anything else. And I am inviting them to scrutinize how I have used my CDF to revolutionize the education sector in my constituency. I want them to call their relatives in the community to confirm the schools are built. I want them that every time they have an opportunity to visit the community, let them move around to see the way our schools look like. And I want also to make a commitment that contrary to what my opponents say to me, that my buildings are substandard, they're not in good shape, I want them not to listen to my political detractors, but to make an effort to visit those schools for benchmarking so that they can put their members of parliament to more accountable to deliver the same, because we almost get similar amount of money from NGCDF on average. And the people of community are aware that we have made a commitment. We have laid down our plans to ensure that all the 71 primary schools that we have in our constituency, by June next year, all of them, none of it will have buildings that were built in 1990s and below. We are going to phase out all those buildings to magnificent structures with tiles, with cabro, with the proper landscaping. We are putting heat repellents in all the roof, that where we are in our classroom, there will be no heat, the temperatures will be regulated. Even if the children will have had githeri for lunch, they will not sleep in the classroom. That is how serious we are as a constituency. And in the next 3 months, we will have completed the first batch of 30 schools that we have already sent the money to the school PMCs, and currently we are doing procurement. At the moment, we have completed around 3, which they are ready for commissioning in the next couple of days, which my team is working on to have them commissioned. And I also want to ask my supporters to love our opponents. They should not abuse our opponents, because the seat that we are gathering for, everybody has a constitutional leeway to run for it. It's not reserved for us. And then many other players can come in. So I want them to relax. They should not feel agitated. I want them to love our members of parliament. I want them to love all members of our county assemblies who went for a meeting with our opponents. That is not a mistake that they did. That's within their democratic rights. And I want to ask all their supporters of our current members of parliament to support me. I even ask those who feel like their members of parliament have not done well and maybe they have other preferred candidates also to support me. All the candidates, I want them to support me, because as a governor candidate, I will not take sides. The people of Bungoma are knowledgeable enough and are competent enough. They will give me competent members of the county assembly whom I will work with as their governor. So my last remarks will be that when the date is out, we are identifying people from all the polling stations in Bungoma. A number of them into a counting conclave that will happen in the next 14 days. If you are not mobilized to attend that counting conclave, it should not mean that your opinion doesn't matter. And everybody will be invited to attend that conclave. We have to begin from somewhere. So the people that we will select, they will just be that this is where we have reached, but we will be sending out an advert to invite everybody. I want to ensure that that meeting will have a minimum around 10,000 people, but if the other people will come, it will be 20, it will be 30, there will be no problem. We will have a whole day discussing on and taking a position on a number of things that are happening within our county and within our country, and also as an aspirant. I would want to listen from them, constituency by constituency, on what are some of the issues that have been neglected by the Blues for the longest period of time, so that they can be part of my manifesto. My manifesto will be people's driven, and one thing that you must do to ensure that your manifesto is people driven is that you first must listen to them before you come up with a final document. Thank you very much.
Thanks.